All right, see if we can get this working again. Okay, so when we last left off, we had our tasks here. We got them all looped together, lumped together. Figured out how to sort them by their critical date. Why is this not working? This was sorted. This was doing something. Why did my thing go away? Okay, you're still working. That's still working. Oh, right. Because I renamed, I switched up the task list, that's right. Changing the prerequisite from the task name to the task number. Which does make the data entry a little bit more difficult. We might rework that. But for testing, it's a little bit clearer. For me, anyway, to figure out. But again, that's not a super hard thing to figure out. Okay, so sort by critical date. We can filter down to the phase. We can get the tasks grouped by phase, I think. Yeah, so this is just getting the tasks that are not subtasks. We can call those primary tasks. Yeah, that doesn't seem super clear. Top level tasks. And then we have their subtasks. However, we don't have the subtasks of the subtasks. And I don't want to set it up so it's like, okay, well, you can only have... I would like this to be able to chain as deeply as it needs to go. So let's think about how we can do that. I will admit, I said I was going to think about this after, and I didn't. I kind of took the dog down to the dog park for like an hour, and didn't really think about much of anything. It was nice, just kind of let my head be clear. Okay. This is the part of my job where I worry if someone's walking in on me that it's looking like I'm not doing anything. Because I'm kind of not. I'm kind of just staring at it and trying to think like... hoping the answer just kind of comes to me. Because I could like do this, and I could nest this a bunch of times, and like rerun it. But okay, so we can get this, we can spill this. Now, on the other hand, we do have a finite amount of tasks. You know, we only have this many tasks. Because really all we're trying to do is figure out how to sort it. So we want to sort them by their phase first. this one that gets a little bit fiddly. Maybe I should have thought about this offline a little bit more. But whatever. I think it's good to kind of get the process in there as well. As a kind of very boring, very time inefficient window into my learning process. Or maybe people just want something ASMR-like to fall asleep to. That's okay too. What is that? Oh yeah, I don't know what that was. That's fine. So what do we do here? How do I get... Because this is the order that we want. Now we can have as many helper columns as we want, so we can just keep adding more columns to the left. So we can just say, you know, spill the phase and then do by this. But we can't have an infinite number, because this is going to stretch off into infinity this way, hypothetically. This is going to stretch off into infinity that way. And you got to be careful with your infinities. Like, because in this case, it's only like one layer deep, but you could have this like 40 layers deep. And, you know, then you're having 40 columns, and that gets hard to work around. Huh. What am I going to do here? I had done something similar in the past, but it wasn't this detailed. So we had a thing where, you know, we had a start date, we had an end date, and similar to this, I was printing all of the fiscal years in between. This is kind of doing that same thing. It's just getting the start date and end date and printing every date in between. No, we can even leave that there. Normal. Now we can go down into infinity. But as you can see, this is kind of like a two-dimensional thing. Although... no, because we're going to have forks. also don't want a loop, like a circular reference. Because if I then say 6 is reliant on 3, or sorry, 3 is reliant on 6. Although, well, actually, we're not going to get a loop because there's no, it wouldn't be at the top level. So actually, that kind of prevents the loop. Maybe. No. 3 go into 5. Yeah, I think that'll actually prevent the loop, because I don't think there's... Because they only have one task as the prerequisite task. Actually, that might not be true. It could have multiple prerequisite tasks. Oh, that's a limitation. I didn't realize that. And that gets a little difficult. Now we can work around that and have an arbitrary number of prerequisite task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just gonna make a note here. This is something that really annoys me with the web version. So you do new comment, it's there, you start typing, and occasionally it will then overwrite what's in the cell. So, and that kind of leads to a different challenge, because if there's just parent, child, and like one thing deep, and also if we have multiple prerequisite tasks, that can cause, give us an in for looping. That's a trickier challenge too. Yeah, I didn't really think of that. Because yeah, our data is going to be kind of in like a tree. Because we're going to have like, okay, so we start with Okay. Okay. So we start with this guy, and he's going to go down into number 5 and number 4. 5 is going to go down into 6. But you know, you could have another one down here that, you know, 6 and 4 both need to feed into this task over here. So that could be, yeah, that is more challenging than I thought. We do have a couple tricks, so we can do this text join text split thing. And this kind of allows us to have multiple cells in one cell in kind of a janky fashion. But yeah, this also tells me that this task list here... Actually, we can... Where did my prerequisite task go? Didn't I? I put a note in there. I'm 100% sure of that. But actually, I think what I'm going to do is if you have more complex, so I'm just going to leave it like this for now. Let's get this working. So it'll be, this will be the simple task list. We're then going to have ones with pages for more complicated ones that support multiple. We'll then take all of their parent tasks and put them into one cell here. So if we can get this working, because this is going to have a natural split anyway, that should make it work, I think. We might even be able to, like, when it spits it out, add a number of indents for each number of layers. Can we do that? Maybe? Maybe. But yeah, if we try and spit it out this way, using the basic thing, so we're going to have tasks 3, 5, 4, 6 when it should be 3, 5, 6, 4. Because even though 4 is due sooner than 6, 6 is related to number 5, which is due sooner. So we could split this. We could say only take the ones that have subtasks, so we could check for ones, you know, does NMP4 show up in this list at all? And then print 5, but then how do we get 4 after 6 is the issue. Thinking about it the wrong way. So what tools do we have? So we've text split, we've got like text join, text split. That helps us here. And we can do the same thing here so that they're showing up in the same cell. And then just getting rid of the zeros. The zeros are no problem, we can ignore those. When we get to 0, we know we're done. Do by row, we can do by column. We can map an array. We can iterate. Yeah, Okay, this is way easier than how I did it, by the way. I was using the scan function for this. This is actually a lot easier. If we get, so we get the phase, we get the top level. This could be multiple. So actually, you know what? Let's go back into our simple list. Let's add some more. No, this one has no prerequisite task. Actually, yes. Okay. So now we're having issues because I added more because I had more spills. No, don't insert the copied cells. I just want to insert the rows. Okay, now we're having some spill errors. That's fine. Yeah, this is now all out of whack, but that's okay. So this is working properly. This is taking, it's looking at them each individually. But then how do we get that to repeat an arbitrary number of times? Because this is in order, then this. These are in order of critical date. So if I'm just gonna paste this up here to make it a little easier for futzing around. So this should be NMP7, then NMP8, then NMP3, then 5, then 4, then, oh no, 7, 8, 8, 9. So we're kind of like running on a map here. There's a draw. So we're going from 7 to 8, which is over here. Then 8 to 9, which goes to here. 9 to 0, so then we start back up to this list. We go 3 to 5, which goes to here. 5 to 6, which goes to here. 6 to 0, then we go back up this list to the next spot that's not a 0. So then it's 4. We go to 4, 4 is to 0, then 1, then 2. So 7, 7, 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 0, which goes back to 3. 3 to 5, and see, and then 5 to 6. 6 to 0, and then go back up to 4. 9 was already done. So this is our desired task order here. So we get our first task, whatever, and maybe we try and write it out. Let's make some more notes here. So step 1, find first task. Step 2, check for subtask. Now we have a fork. Nope. Step 3, if yes, put subtask. If no, go to next task on list. But actually, we don't just want to... So we get the first task, and we want to check for subtask that hasn't already been added to the list. So this is sounding like an iterative function to me now. We're going to call this step 2. So find first task, that's, you know, the first one that's on this list that we spit out, because the first one is going to be whatever the first critical date is, and then it's just going to be we need to check for the phase. That is in the same phase. Okay, so this is, I think, would be the how it's going to do it. I get our little draw tool out again. So find the first task, and it's going to go to. Oh, can I go down? Okay, there we go. So find the first task. Here is our first task. Perfect. We're going to add this to the list. So we've got number 7. Boom. Add the task list. Check for subtask. Does it have a subtask? Yes. We're then going to place that subtask and go back to step 3. Does this one have a subtask? Yes. Number 9. Perfect. Does this have a subtask? No. We're going to go back to the list. Has 7 already been added? Yes. Has 3 already been added? No. So now we're going to go to 3. Perfect. 3 says add 5 and 4. We're going to go to 5 because that's the next one on the list. Perfect. Does 5 have a subtask? Yes. Number 6. We're going to add 6. 6 have a subtask? No. Go back to the list. 7 added. 3 added. 8 added. 1 not been added, not in the same phase. So we're going to skip that. Has 5 been added? Yes. Has 4 been added? No. Does 4 have a subtask? No. Then we go to 6, and then 2. I think did I forget one? 6 was added twice. That's why. 6 should not be there. That should be 1 there. It's at 1 and then 2. So I think why can't I click on anything? Microsoft, that's why. Okay, but I think yeah. So this will let me, I think, with this, we can do something with this. Okay, so let's try and we'll just do one step at a time. F42, okay. So, first function. So we're just going to take the first of this. This is what I think of the index function as actually being used for. That's bugging me. So, first task, got it. Because that's at index position 1, 1. Actually, this is kind of more step 0. Find next task in same phase. Although, then it would just go to next task in same phase, which would be 3. So I think actually find first phase. Should be you. And then this, we're going to be getting, we want column number 3. So find next task in the same phase. So we're now going to be let's make it even more granular. Step -1, sort tasks by critical date. And that's where we get this is F42. Just put that in there. So then this is going to be our step 0 list. Find the next task in the same list in the same phase. So now we need to filter. Array. Oh yes, because I added a row. This is our array here. We're going to include where column F43 spill column 3 equals this. And then if it's empty, we'll just say 0. And actually, we actually just want column 1 because we're just wanting the task numbers. There we go. And then we're going to do text join. Our delimiter is going to be semicolon. We are going to ignore empty cells. So this is all in this one cell. This is actually going to have an if. So that if it's the next phase, yeah. So now we need the accumulator. Because we need to know if a task has been in the list. We're gonna think about how we're going to do that later. I'm going to put it over just here. This is definitely going to need the scan function. And it might be as simple as it goes 7, and then the next cell goes 7, 8, and then the next cell goes 7, 8, 9, and the next cell goes 7, 8, 9, 3, all the way until we get the end. And then we only include the last cell. And that last cell we split out because it's going to be spilling like this. Always be anchoring unless you don't want to. Actually, we can use this here, add these two together, and then get our order, like our per task order, because these are now sorted. So we can just do sort tasks by critical date and then phase. So we're going to get these two. So this is our filter one. And we're going to do by row that's our array. It's going to be a lambda function. Call that phase. And our function is going to be this. Equals phase. That did not work, because I did not have enough brackets. But then what we're going to do is we're going to text join the whole darn thing, and that doesn't work. Then what we're going to do is we're going to text join the whole darn thing. And now we have our full list here. Let's make it a row delimiter so it spills down. Okay, so now we've got 3 functions here. And these work. And we can just check it. That's okay, because they are still sorted by phase. Yeah. This is good. This is what I wanted. Okay. So this step's not going to work because we're kind of thinking on it a little bit of a different way. Let's think about this here. So we're going to call this is going to be our output. So our initial value is going to be 0. We need some kind of initial value. We'll just say that this is the 0. And let's just start building this. So scan, initial value of 0. This is going to be our array. Lambda. Initial value and accumulator. If because the initial value is both the initial value of being 0, but then also I think the previous one. If text split let's make it a little good. If the initial value equals the accumulator, I'm going to put a 0. If it doesn't, the initial value and semicolon space and the accumulator. Okay, so this is kind of what I was expecting here. So the other thing that we're going to need, this might run into problems if we have a lot. Because I think at a certain point the output's going to I think we should do this. What's the character count on that? $164. I don't remember what the cap on the character cap is, on character limit per cell is for text output. I think it's 255. I'm gonna have to Google that. That's not at all. Well, maybe it doesn't. Oh, up to 32,000. 32,000 is still a lot. But it is still finite. So that's, I mean, that would be about 1,000 if you limited it to 32 characters, which is a pretty reasonable limit and a pretty reasonable number of tasks. If you limited it to 8 characters, and that would be 4,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I mean, 8 characters would be a 3-letter code and a 4-digit code. But okay, so this is getting us started with our output. We'll need to modify this, so we're going to make this neutral because it is working how I expected. It is not doing everything that needs to be done. But yeah, so we'll do that. So we don't need to worry about the same phase, we just need to worry about this list. Because they're already sorted out. If you just go down the list, you're not going to hit anything in the next phase until you get to the end of it. Don't need to worry about that. So this part is right. Let's just put this here for now. Okay, so then we need to check for a subtask. So then we need so this find next task, this kind of is actually kind of throws us off. So we need does first task have a subtask? If yes, add that task. Now this is where we're going to run into an issue. that task. If no, go to next task in list. Move you up there. So yeah, these are kind of backwards. So you kind of go there. So we can determine can I replace that with this? I think that'll just work. Yeah, that does just work. That's where that is. So if I go text after, I forgot to do the delimiter there. Instance number, search from the end. Okay. So that works. Okay, so let's also make this a scan function. Initial value is going to be 0, which is fine. You get the text after. And this is our lambda. Initial value accumulator. So then we want to filter the consolidated task list number 1 by if column 5 has the initial value in it. If it does not, we're going to have a 0. But that's not actually what we want. This is simple enough, it can just be one line. What we really want is if that equals 0, then we want the thing in the list that is after the initial value. So then we are going to need to index and match. Value is the initial value. It's going to be, that is our array. Exact match. We're going to index that same array. Now, row number, whatever that is, plus 1. Get the value of the one that is below what the initial value is. If let's just do a text join of the output. type here? Did not work. Why not? Nested arrays are not supported. See, it shouldn't. Shouldn't be spitting out an array of arrays. So you know what? Let's change this to... Oh, come on. Fuck off. Change this to let. You're going to be the initial value. The accumulator is going to be... Oh, it's because the initial value is 0. That would spit out an error. So if we make our initial value 1. That's closer. That's closer to what we were looking for. Let's break this one down a little bit more. Let's get rid of the if, get rid of that, get rid of that, and just do this. All right, well, let's just do this then. Let's just spit out, no, why? getting closer. Maybe. Okay. So let's look at the logic here. So this is saying if, actually let's set the initial value here just as that first one. See if that makes a difference. Oh, 7 leads to 8. Eight leads to 9. Seven leads to 8. 8 leads to 9. Okay. 9 has been added to the list. 9 has 0. So it is then going to go down this list and look at what? So 9 is then going to look for the next thing down the list. So that's actually an issue in logic. 9 has nothing, so it's going to look, or sorry, 6 has nothing either, so then it's going down here. So, the logic is working for this section here. But the issue was that it's just looking at whatever the previous value is. So it skipped over the train after 3. So it skipped 3 and 5. And then also skipped 4. But we're getting closer. We're getting closer. But yeah, this is better. I'll just start this at 0. Oh yeah, so I can start it at 0. I cannot start it at 0, but I can start it at null. I did not know you could start it at null. But that, you know, that still works out slightly better. But it's this initial value being used for here, because we don't actually want to just go to the previous value. We want to go to the next value in the list that is not already in the list. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add IV here. And this is going to need to be the text after in the initial value. For all of these. Nope. Why did it pick up 7, but not 8. Because it wasn't looking at 8, it was looking at 7 and 8 concatenated together. So we should just be able to replace all the initial values. Actually, no, not this one. Broke it even more. Okay. You know what? You know what? That concatenating anyway was a little bit annoying. How do we go from, instead of 9 to 6, 9 to 3? Okay, so what happened? So 7 has 8. 8 has 9. 9, so we're jumped down to here. How do we get back up to 3? Because it only looks at the previous one. Doesn't actually know everything that's in the array. Unless you accumulate them like this. Let me read a little bit more on the scan function. Scan returns an array of values, yeah. I think we need to actually add a second filter, or second part to this. Because this is kind of the ish, well, no, because if we jumped, even if like magically jumped back up to 3, then it would just start looping through again. So we need to remove, we're you know, it's come down here, it's come down here, it's come down here. So this is break number 1, because this should instead be going to number 3. But again, if there's a fork, well, let's solve one problem at a time. Because this isn't starting over from top to bottom. This is just looking straight across. So let me, because I don't think I have a fork in this chain. Yeah, I'm going to add a fork to number 7. You know, let's add a fork to number 8. Not expecting that to give an error, at least not up there. Still looking in the right spots. Okay, so if filter equals ivy return 0. Return that. So this is saying if it can't find any with a prerequisite of the initial value, which in this case is nothing, it's blank, then we're going to go to match the initial value plus 1. Which would be 1 on the index, which should be that. So this is, oh, it's giving nested arrays again. So if I text join this, with that same delimiter. Does not help. Does not help. Well, no, this is only ever going to return one value. So that's not the issue. Why am I putting all this text after in there if that array is just... Oh, because I had it backwards. So if filter equals 0, which our first one actually, would it? No, it doesn't equal 0. So that, yeah, that should just be returning that. So it doesn't equal 0. Actually, wait, no. It's going to be returning these three. Okay, that is better. So I think this is probably a nested array. Yeah, because this is spilling out multiple. Because there are multiple, because these zeros actually aren't zeros, they're these are technically, oh no, because it would be zeros when you're looking at the array. Oh, dearie, dearie me. Which I guess is the same as the blank, although we were getting different results when we put a 0 in versus leaving it blank. So let's see what this is trying to do here. So it's hitting spills over here. So let's maybe. Let's change the initial value for you. Value for you. The initial value for you. So a little bit more accurate in what it's trying to do. So this is where it has run out of list. Okay, so you're trying to spill down. Which part of this is trying to spill? You want 4, 5, and then 4, 5. Why is it doing 4, 5 twice? Why does it have false twice? So, because it was, okay, so it's saying false, false. Actually, let's change these out. Do that. Okay. Actually, now we're just getting all spill errors, so that's not going to help us. But okay, so that's fine. We just let our initial value be that. No. Because yeah, this shouldn't be an array, but because filter of D8, this is going to return 2 values. So we need to deal with it returning 2 values. But for now, let's do the transpose thing. Why? So this should not actually be returning NMP8. It should be returning NMP5. No, oh, I see, I see. I haven't done that part yet. Yeah, okay. So this is now going to return NMP5, but false, false. Because this section here is returning 2. So because it's returning 2, I don't know why it's not transposing it. And then, yeah, this doesn't have anything to go off of. Because the index below number 2 is gone because it's the end of the list. So now let's wrap this. Just like that for now. What? Ow. Why did this not? Oh, because that's the only one that's looking at the one above. Okay. That's fine. Okay, well, let's just transpose the whole output here so we can at least get rid of the spill errors while we try and fix them. Not super duper helpful. Because yeah, this is concatenating it and then also spilling it twice. I don't know why it's doing that. But if we go mat, let's get rid of the text join. So then we're having 7, 8, 9, 10. And 6, 1, 2. So we're skipping over the 3, 5, 4. For the same reason. So it does not equal 0, so we're skipping over the index here. So we are instead doing this. why is it spilling twice? This should be just joining them instead of joining them and then putting it out twice. Okay, what if I replace text transpose with text join? Okay. So at least now we're not getting the spill errors. What the fuck? Why? Why? This word contains unrecognized text. Oh, because I spelled text join wrong. Okay, so then if we text join that plus that, spot, that's why. Oh, you jerk. Stop making my cells fat. Oh, you suck. Okay, so here's our issue. We want to check both of these. lives a little bit easier. I know let's been kind of funny. Text after furthest from the end. Match mode. Actually, case insensitive. Match to end. If not found, I-18. Should have done that up here. Okay, so now we have 7, 8, 9. Shoot, that's... That should be there. So we have 7, 8, 9, 10, so up. 6, 1, 2. So we're still skipping over 3, 5, and 4. We're skipping over the whole 3 tree. Can I do this? Fuck. I love how the autocomplete for web just destroys everything that comes after it. Assuming you, yeah, it's annoying. And so we want do I-16, anchor that, and then I-17. No, you can't reference it itself. We'll do I-16 to I-16. Okay, So we can do that. And that's something that we could reference, I think. So this needs to be our actually, let's break this down a little bit more. All right, so this is our if true, if false. So the if false, that's working okay. Now, the if true, I think we need to break this one down again with another if statement for now. We'll say if something equals 0, true. If question mark does not equal 0, false. So this is just going to give us a little bit of a placeholder to work with here. Okay. Okay, so this one is printing 7 and everything after 7 that relies on 7. So if I say, if I add another one here, and also set this to 7, yeah, that adds it in there. Okay. So that's fine. So then this is printing the last number. If I change this from text after to text split. Does not like that. Okay. That's fine. Because it's also only looking at the rightmost one. So if 9 and 10 also had forks, it would only be looking at if 10 has a fork. call previous the text split of the accumulator. Does not really matter. Let's do rows. Ignore the empty. Oh my god. Stop it. Can I do anything? Can you let me do anything? No, just gonna break entirely. Even though, come on. Really gotta fight to survive sometimes. Jesus. Right, because it deletes everything after you use the autocomplete. Because it's fucking stupid. Unless you have another comma in there. This should be okay, because I'm not actually doing anything for this. Okay. Okay, so, so the leftmost one is going to be locked in. Anything after the leftmost one is what's a possibility. Yeah, that is not true. So we do need to look at both of those values. Oh, fucking hell. Okay, so if I can add another one. Next. That is going to be a filter. D16 spill. No. wait, maybe if I do filter, D16 spill, where just the ones that aren't in the previous list. Can I do that? Fuck. Oh, it's just giving an error. Okay, that part doesn't work. Well, that's the internet. Oh, that looks awful. When was this, from 2022? Yeah, that's pretty recent. Oh god. Oh god, this is hideous. I don't want to use macros because macros are cheating. Not quite what I want. It's not quite what I'm looking for. I'm looking to remove multiple things from the list. But that might be possible. So we're going to transpose an array. The array is going to be the spill of D16. But we're going to do some more with this. So we want to... I don't think this is going to work, but I think it would be really funny if it does. Yeah. It really weirds me out that text split and text join. Text join has the delimiter first and then the text after. Text split has the text first and then delimiter after. Why'd this make it? But yeah, no, that's not. That did not work. I think the arrays need to be the same size for that to work because it's doing like matrix stuff. I think maybe. Spill. Equals text split of u Let's forget about the transpose here for a second. Just look at this one thing. Spell it wrong? I did spell it wrong. Evidently there is a space in there. Alright, fair enough. That does not work. I can make it work backwards. this is everything in that list that is not NMP7. But I can only do that one at a time. No. I'm not trying to get the count, though. I want the... Match data filter. Does that work? That does work. Okay. Okay, so let's try. Don't need this text split because that's already done. We're going to go previous. What? Shoot. So then I might just be able to change this to next. No, can't rework that. Maybe. Fuck. Oh, is that it? So desired order. So we want 7, boom, 8, boom, 9, boom, 10, boom. 11, actually 11 should go there because I added 11 into there. Because 11 comes after 10. Boom, 3, boom, 4, 5. Not quite right. Boom, 6, 1, 2. Actually, no, it's fine if 4 goes before 5, as long as 5 and 6 are together. So I think that works. Oh, I suppose text split has 2 delimiters. So you can do columns or rows, depending which way you want it to spill. Boom! Yeah! Hell yeah! I'm taking a screenshot of this. If it'll... Okay, there we go. All right, on that note, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. Then we're gonna come back, and I think we'll be able to wrap this up, because now I just need to get this into one function. And then it'll spill that way, and then the rest of this is trivial. Yeah, so back in 1 moment, maybe 3 moments. Alright, I'm back. Oh, we're riding high. We are riding fucking high. Alright. This end, that is easy to get rid of. We'll also wrap it in, probably just wrap it in unique, actually. What? Oh. There we go. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so now let's work backwards from here. Actually, I'm going to get out my notepad because I'm going to be getting copying and pasting stuff over. Okay. So. Let's try and figure this out. So if we were to change the scan function here, or this to a scan function, initial value, whatever, we've got that figured out, I think. Actually, will this still work? You know what, let's just try and... If I add a third one that's referencing 8, does that break it? Okay, I mean, we're at rows, but that's... No, no, it's not. Just added another one to the list here. 7, 8, 12, 11. 11 and 12 are basically the same. 3, 4, 5. Wait. 11 and 12 should be the same. It missed 9 and 10. So this actually did not work. Oh no, yeah. It was just hidden. Because of the stupid wrap text. Stop wrapping my fucking text. Just let it spill out. There we go. I was gonna say, yeah, I missed 9 and 10, but no, it's because they were on another line, so. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, in this case, 12, then 11. Ooh, actually... No. Because this is 9, 10, 12, 11. This should be 9, 11, 10, 12. So we're not quite there yet. Where are we? Okay, I think what we need to do is put the orphans first. So, if this equals 0, false, false, false. So let's add another criteria here. Need to put this in brackets. We're going to multiply that. By... Ooh, how do we check if they don't have orphans? Let me think about this for a second. Because initial value is only looking at the last one. We're narrowing down on it, but figure out which ones are the... If this equals 0. So this isn't checking if any of them equal 0. It is checking if all of this equals 0. But it should be checking if any of them equal 0. This is just checking the rightmost one. So this is going to be checking 12. But if it was checking 9, then it would do the put 9's friend 11 there. But we actually do have a way for that now. So this is problematic. And I think I just changed that to 1. Let's undo that. Solve the -1. Okay, but if I change that to 1, no, it's still putting that down here, which is correct if it wasn't tied to number 9. So we need to get the ones that are ready for number 9 or number 10. What if 9 and 10 had them? How do we pick which one? I think we actually do want this as 1, not -1. But then why? Oh, because now it's looking at 10 instead of 12. So let's look at text before. Actually makes it a lot simpler. 8, 9, 10, 11, or 9, 10, 12, then 11, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. So this is almost right. Problem is getting 9 and 11 to stick together. So we need to take out the ones that aren't orphans. So how do we exclude the non-orphans? But then get 9 in the next one. 7 and 8, which is correct. So we're going to 8. Eight should then jump. Sorry, 7 to 8. 8 to 12, 9, 10. In this case, 9, 10, 12. Oh, okay, yeah, this works. I want to sort this by column, not 5, column 8. Ah! You, stop wrapping my friggin' text. There. Okay, so now it's already sorted, so now we don't gotta friggin' worry about it. We can just reference it and it'll be fine. So yeah, so now this is already sorted by critical date. It should be... What the fuck? Oh, because the zero's in there. Okay. Does not count zeros as being as January 0th, 1900, which every other part of Excel does. One would think the zeros would be at the top, but whatever. Okay, so let's call this September 21st. Should be 712.3, etc. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we don't need to worry about this anymore, other than just, you know, E48 spill or F48 spill is easier. But this is no longer necessary just because we've sorted it from the source. Yeah, we want 9, 11, 10. Actually, 9, 11, 12, 10. So 7, 8. So actually, yeah, 12 makes sense. And actually, no, because we want the orphans. We want 12, 10, 9, and then 11. So this is the order that we want. So we've got 7, 8, 12. So 10 is wrong, because we want to get the orphans first. Then we want 9, 11. So these are in the wrong spots. Then I want 3. Three, 5. What? I think those are just out of order. No? Why? What the fuck? Oh, because these aren't sorted by phase. These are raw sorted, so we still need the phase sorting. So we want. I want 3, 5, 6, then 4, then 1, then 2. So it is getting 3 and 5, but then it's going 3, 5, 4. Actually, these are all wrong. Because what we want is the orphans first. We need to take care of the orphans first. That's our mantra. So You know what? It's already been 3 hours today, and I don't want to spend all day doing this, so I might need to roll this ahead. But we're at 6 hours. I did think this was going to take me about 8 or 12 hours. But we've made good progress. We're getting there. We're getting there. So let's make a note for next time. So get the ones without any subtasks. Then but then if 2 have subtasks, how do we do that? So like if 5 and 4 both had subtasks, how do we deal with that? Is under 4 now. So 5 and 4 now both have 6. Yeah, now it's just going to the same order, the default order. This might be... We're getting there. We're getting there. But yeah. I'm going to call her there. We'll get back to this another time. Maybe on Wednesday. Anyway. Later, nerds!